Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Steve and I'm back with a new video. Today I'm doing a little grilling at the house and I want to make some pulled pork. However, I don't have the time that it would normally take to do pulled pork on the grill. So what I'm going to be doing today is showing you how to make pulled pork in a crock pot if you have one. So stay tuned. So right here on the table in front of you are, or on the counter in front of you, are the ingredients that I'm going to be using. You see we've got a little bit of brown sugar, chili powder, some black pepper, a little bit of liquid smoke, another thing of chili powder, some salt, pepper, some paprika, and then I got some minced garlic. And I'm going to be giving you the measurements for these. I also list that down in the comment section below. So if you guys want to figure out or find out how to make that rub that I'm going to be putting on the pulled pork, you can find it there. Alright, so here's our cut of meat right here. This is a pork shoulder butt, also known as a pork butt. And we're just going to put this in the crock pot. We're going to mix up these ingredients here on the side. Yeah, so what we're going to do is mix up all these ingredients in this bowl here, make a nice little rub, and put it over the pork butt. And then we're just going to let it go for about 6 hours in the crock pot. Alright, first thing we need is a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Just going to dump that in there. Okay, next we got a tablespoon of chili powder, tablespoon of paprika. So right here is 2 teaspoons of garlic powder that we're putting in. Next we're going to follow this up with 2 teaspoons of, the recipe has kosher salt, but I'm using regular table salt, don't have any kosher salt. So next you've got a teaspoon of black pepper. And then that last, but certainly not least, we have a teaspoon of cayenne pepper that we add in here. So you may notice that I still have my liquid smoke here and the minced onion. We're going to put those in a few minutes. Actually, the recipe doesn't call for liquid smoke, but since I'm not doing this on the grill and I'm going to be doing it in a crock pot, I want to put this in there just to give it a little bit of smoky flavor. So with this rub here, what you're going to do is just mix this up and get everything mixed up and incorporated really good, because this is what you're going to rub all over the pork butt to season it. And if you get it thawed out really good in time, what you can do is score it a little bit, score the pork butt a little bit, so that when you rub this seasoning over it, some of it gets down in the cracks, and this seasoning can actually get down into the meat a little bit more. While I'm doing this, just talking about a few myths when it comes to doing meat or grilling. A lot of times, you know, you'll hear people say it's fine if you just take the meat and let it thaw out on the counter. And sometimes this meat may have to come down in temperature, and it may take, you know, the better part of a day. So it's really not a good idea to leave meat on the counter when it's thawing out. What I did with this pork butt, I had it in the freezer up until yesterday, and I just took it out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator until now. Alright, so this is our rub right here. This is all these ingredients that we had all mixed up. And so what we're going to do now is get this rubbed on the pork butt. Alright, so this is our pork butt here. So what I'm going to do first, just to help this seasoning stick a little bit better, I'm going to put a little oil, just rub a little oil all over it on both sides. This will help the seasoning adhere to it a little bit better. Alright, and once you got that rubbed down, then you just want to take this and really liberally cook this pork butt down. And it's going to have time to soak in all these juices in the time that it's going to be cooking in here. And so like I was saying, you want to get this on all the sides, the top, the front, and the back. This makes a really good flavor. Also, I recommend this method for anybody who may be new to doing pulled pork. You don't want to buy a big cut of meat like this. This piece right here that you see, this is like a 1/4 the size that we actually bought. We bought this from Costco, and it would be a shame to buy something that's 4 times as large as this and not really know how to do it and end up ruining it on the grill. So this method here, the first time I did a pulled pork, I did it this way and it turned out great. So you can use this method, like I said, if you're running short on time like I am today. I don't have a lot of time to be able to get this done on the grill, so I'm just gonna do this in here. Or like I said, if you're into doing it. Alright, so now that we've got this seasoned up, one of the other things that we want to do, I mentioned a few minutes ago about this liquid smoke. You don't really need to use a whole lot of this. I mean, a little of it goes a long way. You just kind of drizzle a little bit on here. And there you go. Alright, and last but not least, we've got some minced garlic that we're going to put on here. The recipe called for 4 onions cut in half, and you're supposed to lay them in the bed of this crock pot to do. And like I said, we're going to use minced, but we're not going to use a whole heck of a lot. You just take a little bit and just smear it on here. This would have normally, when I did this before, I did it in the recipe. And it's going to have a really nice flavor. Alright, and with that we're done. The only thing we have left to do in here now is just to put a little bit of water. And I say a little bit because you want this to have moisture while it's smoking down, but you don't want it floating, in an ocean. So here's what we look like right now. And what I'm going to do is put a couple cups of water in here. Okay, right now that's a cup of water. I'll put another half a cup. It's easier when you look at this to just have a cup and a half of water in here and have that simmer down, and to come back and add water, rather than to add too much water and have this thing swimming and just a hot mess later on. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is take this insert and put it back in the crock pot. Lid on here. And we're going to set that for 8 hours, and we're just going to let it go. I'll show you what it looks like once it's done, or every so often when I come back to check up on it, and let you guys know how it's doing. So see you in a little bit. Hey guys, I'm back, and while I got the brisket going in the crock pot, I'm doing a couple of other things. I figured I might as well go ahead and show you guys what we're doing. Right now I'm getting ready to season up some steaks, and I'm going to put those on the grill a little later on. And I also got some help with me today, my sons. This is my oldest, Will, and this is the younger son, Steve. Say hi, guys.
Hey guys.
So we're going to go ahead and season up some steaks and show you guys how we're doing that. And then later on we're going to throw them on the grill. So stay tuned. Okay, so here we got a couple of 20-ounce top sirloin steaks, and then over here William's got a couple of top round steaks. So what we're going to do is we're going to season these up, and then we're going to put them back in the fridge for a little bit so they can marinate. And then in a couple hours we're going to take them out here and throw them on the grill. So I got a couple of seasonings that I'm using here. I got a little bit of this Perfect Blend seasoning rub. I know it says chicken and poultry, but I add a nice little bit of flavor to these steaks. So just sprinkle a little bit on here, and a little bit here and here. Don't need to do a whole heck of a lot. Then I picked up this Mrs. Dash steak grilling blend seasoning. Alright, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of this on here. Don't have to go super crazy unless this was a large cut of meat, since these aren't. We need to put enough on here to season them up, flavor them. A little bit of garlic powder. And we want this just, we're just going to put this on here and brown it on both sides completely so that it's done. I'm not doing any sear marks or anything like that. And then lastly, we want, even though we're already going to have smoke, you know, from the wood and stuff that's going to be on the grill, still put a little bit of liquid smoke on there. Some folks may call it cheating to get the smoke flavor. You can call it that if you want to. I just call it adding a little bit of good flavor to some meat. Now, I'm going to switch positions because I seasoned everybody's steaks, and now I'm going to have the boys flip the steaks over and they're going to talk us through seasoning. Okay, so right here Steve is flipping mine and his over, and then William's got his and he's flipping it over, and you can see in the back the crock pot still going with our pulled pork, which we will be devouring later on, along with some ribs and some chicken burgers and stuff like that. Okay, so alright guys, grab the, which one do you want to put on first?
I'll put this on first.
Okay. Oh, be careful, that's why you don't want to turn it up like that. And this is the stuff that we have to learn. We have to learn how to do this stuff. And at times we may make mistakes, but that's the only way you get better at it, is by going through making the mistakes.
Yeah, I'll just put the garlic powder next.
Okay.
The next up, this is Dash. Yeah, this is Dash.
You can put the liquid smoke on while he's doing that. Make sure you put, did you put some on both, William?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Remember with that, a little bit goes a long way. Put a little bit more in the other end. Okay. Alright. Y'all had these seasoned up, so now what you want to do is rub that stuff in, massage it in. I'm sure this comes as a surprise to them. They weren't expecting to get super dirty in this, but
We'll get used to it.
it's part of the fun of
Barbecue.
being on the grill. Okay, once you do that, then flip it over and do the other side. And what you want to do when you flip them this time, put them as close to each other as you can for now, because we're going to wrap them up and put them in the fridge. If we have to use more wrap, we can. Yep, and then you wrap your wrap up. Okay, and he's got a nice little package here, and then take that and set it in the fridge. Now I've got the boys doing this here and showing them how to season this meat and everything up, because actually what we're also doing at this time is getting our fire going on the grill. So here we are 6 hours later. The pulled pork is done, and we're finally going to get a glimpse of what it looks like before shredding. And that's it. So we're going to take it now and put it in this bowl here and shred it up. Next thing, we use these claws here to get it out and put it in the bowl. Alright, so there's a couple ways to do this. You can take a couple forks and do it, or you can get you a couple of these bear claws and just start pulling it apart. This is clearly not going to work. Alright, so I made a mistake and put it in the wrong bowl. Now I got something a little bigger, and so we can just tear the stuff apart. Like I said, you can use a fork to really get at this. You can see how tender it is and how it just easily comes apart. I didn't do a huge amount because I'm not going to be feeding a whole lot of people. You just want to shred this up so you can get some of the seasoning all throughout the meat. And so you can get it shredded up into bun size and bite size pieces. Alright, so now that we've gotten everything shredded up, the last thing we have is a quick taste test. That is really good. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of the juice that was here in the crock pot, pour a little bit of that in there. It's really, really good. You serve this one of two ways. You can serve it, you can take it and put some barbecue sauce on it and mix it all up and serve it to people that way, or you can serve it the way I'm going to serve it, which is like this, with buns, and then have barbecue sauce on the side. You can let people, you know, put as much or as little barbecue sauce as they want on it. And so there you go, guys. That's how you make pulled pork in a crock pot. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave that down in the comment section below. Please do hit that subscribe button and remember to share it with your friends, and I will catch you in the next video.